Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Exciting times here at Prologic. We're very pleased to announce the launch of a brand new range of reels. Now, these have been in development for quite some time, and I would like to take good pleasure to introduce to you our lead engineer here, who's Robert Valkeneer.
Hi Rick, good to hear you. It's a shame that you couldn't be here.
Hi Robert, yeah, it's great to talk again. Probably a little bit more in-depth introduction because we're really excited of what we've all created here at Prologic with the help of Robert. Now, Robert's been working in the industry, constructing reels, leading reel development for some big companies with over 20 years experience. So it was a joy when Robert joined us and helped this dream come true. So we started off looking at the concept of reels, what was available already on the market with designs and features. And we thought, well, if we're going to invest the time to do this, we need to make a statement. We need to make something special. So what I can say about these reels at this stage now is they're beautiful. They really are. The design, Robert will tell us more about this. So the design concept, basically, we took a dream of mine and met up with Robert, the engineer, and that's where all the dreams started to come to life. It created a great story with lots of new innovation there, and the concept behind it all was, let's make something special. So with no further ado, the first one, Robert, the design of these reels. Tell us about the design, because I don't think this is a standard design here.
No, you're right, Rick. What we did, we start basically from scratch. You know, I think that's part of the key to success. Start from scratch. You start with a drawing, and then we gather all the wishes from the anglers, because at the end of the day, the angler needs to buy the reel, and it must be a wanted product with the right features, but also the right design. So then first we start with a drawing. We make adjustments when needed. Then we move on, when we sign that off, to a 3D printed version of the reel. We can make adjustments there as well. The next step is going to be the first actual sample, working sample. And then the fun starts. Then we go out on field testing. And as you know, you've been a very important part of that project. We did a lot of testing all over Europe. And then we gather the feedback and we go to the next step. And that will be an adjusted sample, and so on and so on. So this entire project took us about two and a half years, with like I said, a lot of testing, and finally we come to the end product that's ready to hit the market.
Yeah, I think Robert's been a little bit modest there. As an angler, obviously functionality of the reel is really important to me. Also, in this new generation of carp fishing, aesthetics have to be absolutely spot on. But it's been quite a task for us to be able to get these beautiful aesthetics, but not only that, for Robert to be able to engineer and design the whole concept of the reels behind it, because you can imagine, you know, when we look at in reality, we have things like tractors for doing big workloads and things like that, but then we have the opposite side of the scale, something as beautiful as a Ferrari, which is very pleasing to the eye. So we wanted to combine both concepts really, style, functionality with reliability that's got to last. So I think Robert's playing himself a little bit down there, you know, whereas I was fighting that we take for granted, the engineering, the solid construction of these reels. I also wanted something that was desirable. We looked into line lay, how this can be improved. So Robert, maybe you can help us with a little bit more in-depth into the precision line lay that we have on these reels. Can you tell us about that a bit more?
Yeah, of course. As you know, as a carp angler, you know, it's all about distance and castability of the reel. So therefore you need two things. You need a very slow oscillation and you need a perfect line lay. And that's basically key when it comes to a big pit reel, a carp reel. So what we did is we took the the worm shaft oscillation to an ultra slow level, which means that you get coil after coil, straight lines on the spool. Next to that, the spool is pretty high, so the moment that you cast, the line flies off the spool and goes up and down with less friction than you can ever imagine. So the castability of this reel is very strong, and that is due to the worm shaft slow oscillation, ultra slow oscillation, in combination with the spool design. So that's what creates this dynamic line management, as we call it.
Now, this obviously has helped us generate more distance. Not every day anglers are fishing for distance, but what this allows you to do is have one reel that is good at so many things. So the versatility of these reels is second to none. So the important thing, the aero lip, Robert, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, what we did with the spool design, it was also making sure that we had the right angle on the spool lip. And what we did is we have created several spools with several different angles, and we sent those out for testing, and then we gathered the results, which one was performing the best when it comes to distance casting. And with that angle, we moved forward on our big bit reels, basically on all our reels. Also the bite and fight reels that we have in the C-Series, Avenger, Element, you name it. So this is, for us, it's the right angle to go for extra distance. And what you want to create is that you, like I said earlier, no friction, or at least as less friction as possible. So, and that's what you create. You have this angle, and then the line flies off the spool with hardly any resistance. Yeah, and that creates distance. You know, if you have a lot of resistance when you cast because of the spool lip or whatever, and then the maximum casting distance will decrease, and that's what we want to avoid.
It's quite nice, Robert. I mean, it works absolutely perfectly. As we've been saying to each other, and it's become a little bit of a joke now, less resistance equals more distance. Check out the aero lip on these. It's amazing. And talking about friction there as well, the drags on these reels, you know, we've been through quite a few different drag systems in extreme circumstances, really pushing these to the absolutely limit. So when these reels arrive in market, you know, there's no carp angler on this earth who could push the reels to what we have in testing here. So we have a friction control system on these reels now that we've integrated in there. And I think that deserves a really good explanation there, Robert.
Yeah, we can do that as well. It's like you said, FCS, friction control system. That's what we call our 3 different drag systems as we have them. The first one is a felt drag. It's an oiled felt drag system. If you go one step up, then you move into the carbon drag systems. And another step up, and then we're talking about fulcrum, for example. We have a carbon system that exists in 3 layers. So you have a carbon layer, you have a fiberglass layer, and underneath that you have another carbon layer. These are pressed together. So you get a really thick drag washer. But the good side of it is that after a year of fishing or years of fishing, depending a little bit on how much time you spend on the bank, your drag system can show some wear. You know, it can be a little bit bumpy. The power can be less because of wear. What you do then is just take out these drag washers, turn them around, put them back into the spool, and then you have a brand new drag system. And that's our FCS3 system, which is the best that we have.
It's an ingenious concept, Robert, that we've brought to reality here. Yeah, and it works absolutely perfectly. It's probably one of the smoothest drag systems. And as an angler, I see it a lot in carp fishing. We have the guys who traditionally backwind the reels, or the guys who play off the clutch. And for me, playing off the clutch is, it should be so silky smooth, so precise. You know, minute little turns on these drag knobs, and yeah, it's almost like a Swiss clock. These are all our own in-house achievements we've made here. You know, there are other reel manufacturers on the market which are available to anyone, but we've invested a lot here with time and development to bring this in-house for our engineers to work on exclusively. We're not sharing this technology with anyone else. So yeah, I mean, that is a huge investment in itself when it comes to reel development, is being able to do this. And I think that deserves a brief talk about that, Robert, because the exclusivity when we do this, you know, we've not basically saved any investment here to do this. So why did we do this, Robert?
Yeah, that's a good question, Rick. Why did we do this? That's basically, this is where we start a project, with the reason why. And we asked ourselves the questions: do we want to be the next brand that brings reels on the market, carb reels in this case? No, we don't want to do that. We want to add something on the market. So we did a lot of investment in tooling, because what can you add to the market? The thing is, with tooling, you control everything from scratch to the final product. If you don't do that and you buy off the shelf, then it's basically what the factory can offer you. So by starting from scratch, you control the complete cycle from the drawing to the final product. And that's basically the only way to come to a end result the way we want it. You know, the thing is that we said to ourselves, all right, why are we doing this? Because we think we can, or we are sure that we can add something to the market that brings value for the carb angler. So we really are convinced that we bring something else than what's out there already. And that starts with your own tooling. That's correct.
Okay, another important aspect of these reels was the torque shift. Now, the torque shift, I'll let Robert tell you all about this because it's quite exciting as well. So yeah, Robert, please introduce the torque shift.
Torque shift, this is about the gearing and how we make the gearing. And basically there are three levels, as we call it, named torque shift. So we start with our die-cast gearing, which I just explained. And the second one is machine-cut aluminum gearing. And the third one is a complete machine-cut main gear, drive and main gear. And these are just different steps in quality level. And at the moment we are focusing on torque shift 1 and torque shift 2. So the die-cast sink, like I said, next to the machine-cut aluminum pinion gear. That's what we are talking about at the moment.
But it wasn't just good enough to implement all these new fine details, new ways of engineering, new construction ways, investments and designs into the Prologic reels. To finalize it all, you know, we looked at the Jura grease. Now, the Jura grease is revolutionary as far as grease goes.
Jura grease, that's really one of my favorite topics. Like I said, we want to add something with our products onto the market. There are a couple of things that we are pretty unique with. One of them is the grease. Grease is a very important aspect in your reel because it protects your gearing. It's lubricating. You know, metal on metal, that doesn't work. So you need lubrication, you need the protection against the environment. And next to that, it's one of the issues that you have with a lot of greases out there that's been used in reels, is that the temperature window is pretty compact. So what, for example, will happen, and you know these circumstances in the UK as well, is when the temperature drops, then the problem with grease is that it's getting thicker. You know, at the end of the day, it's a liquid, so it's getting thicker. Most greases below 10 degrees Celsius, they are getting thicker. The first thing that will fail is your anti-reverse. That's one of the problems that you have with the current greases. At the same time, when you're fighting a fish, then the temperature inside the reel will go up. Sooner or later, you will reach a point where you come to this so-called dripping point, melting point. So the higher the temperature, the thinner the grease will be. So then you lose your protection, you lose your smoothness of the gearing, your drag system will fail. So that's something that we looked at, and that's what we wanted to solve. So we tested a lot of different greases, a lot of different formulas, and what we now found is that we are having an operating window between minus 30 degrees until 160 degrees Celsius. Within this window, the consistency of the grease will not change. So it stays as thick as it is, or as thin, whatever you want to call it. And that's a massive jump forward. And we use that in our gearing, and we use that in our drag at the moment. And this is something that, like I said, we wanted to make a difference on the market. And this is really something that makes a difference. And on top of that, it's also non-toxic, which nowadays is also a topic.
I hope you guys are as pleased as what we are with what we've done here. But as all things, it's not over yet. You know, we're continuing to push now with the investments and the developments we've made already. We already have new products that we're working on. So please make sure you stay tuned to the Prologic social media channels, and there'll be updates coming soon. But yeah, it's really exciting times for us here, and there's a lot more to come.
Yes, thanks, Rick. As you know, we cannot say anything about our future, but yes, this is part one. And yeah, just don't forget, 1st of September, these reels will hit the market.